welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to set some default selection on the HTML form. Now, if you open your register.html file, you can see that we do not have anything written here, and there is no default selection for the male and female radio buttons, and we do not have any workshop selection here, any default workshop, and all the check boxes are unchecked. So it is possible that when you first open your web page, you have some default selections, right? Maybe by default the mail is checked, and maybe by default the movies and reading option is also checked, and by default the Python workshop is selected, and you can have some text here like enter your first name, enter your last name, and so on, right? So we can do this. So let me first refresh this page and go back, and let's understand how can we do it. So first I'm going to set a default values for my first name and last name, and you can see that here we have a name equals to f name, right? So I can go back in my code here and I can write dollar, and here you know that I want a input tag where the name is f name, right? And I want to set its default value, and that value is like I'm suggesting please enter the first name, right? And likewise I can copy it and then I can paste it here, and here I can write I want an input tag where the name is lname. Lname stands for last name, and here I can suggest that please enter the last name. Okay, so let me go back and see our text boxes. We have male, female, and all values are set here. Okay, this one. So let me, okay, so we have written f name here, it should be l name, right? And now save these settings, go back, click on the register page. Now see, you have these default values here, enter the first name and enter the last name. So this is already written in a text box when I open my web page. Likewise, I want that by default male should be selected. So for that I need to go to my radio buttons, and these are the names of my radio button, right? IDs and values. So see, the ID of the male radio button is male and its value is also male. So I can go here, and here I can write let's say dollar, and I am requesting for an input tag where the ID is male, and I want to set its property, which is checked property, to checked. It is like checked equal to checked. Let me save it first and go back and click on the register. See, by default male is selected here, right? Let me go back here, and remember that we can even set all default values by using HTML. But because we are learning jQuery, so we want to know that how can we set a default values, how can we set default selections using the jQuery language, right? So you may be surprised that what is checked or checked, right? So let me first comment it, and if I go on the top where we have a male radio button, and here if I write checked equals to checked, right? So this is a attribute, right? So checked is an attribute and its value is also checked. It means this item should be selected, it should be checked by default. So you can also do this using HTML, right? So let me save it. Now if I go here and now click on the register, see, I still got male as a default selection, right? And you can see that this option is this code is commented, right? So let me uncomment it. So my purpose was to give you an idea that you can also make default selections using HTML, but we are learning jQuery, so we should know how to do it in a jQuery way, right? then I want to select or check some checkboxes by default, maybe singing and reading, and you can see that their IDs are singing, and here the ID is reading, and the name of these checkboxes are hobbies. Well, you know that the name of these checkboxes, it is hob, and it is same for all the checkboxes. So it's a kind of a group of checkboxes. You know that when you have a same name for, even you can say, for a radio button or for a checkbox, then this way you are making a group. So now these three checkboxes have a same name, it means they are in a same group. So I can target the hob group, and I can write here, I can request jQuery that I want all input tags where the name is hob, and then I want to make some default selections using the val function, and here I need to pass an array, and this array should have values, and I'm saying that I have the first value reading, and then I have a second value singing. And now you can see that here the value is singing and here the value is reading. So you are passing an array of values, and jQuery is going to check these values with the HTML values, and if they are same, then these two options will be checked by default. So let me save it and go back, and now click on the register, and see singing and reading is checked by default. So you have to call a val function, and within a val function you have to pass an array of values, and these values must exactly match with the values in the HTML, right? So this is how you can do it. I want that by default the Python workshop must be highlighted, right? And its value is Python here. So you can go here, and what is the name of let me see where we have it. So see, the name is workshop, the ID is workshop, and the values are none, Python and Java, right? So let me go back here, and here I can write a dollar, and within dollar I can say that I want a select tag where the name is workshop, and I want to set a default option, and that option should be, let's say, Python. And here also I'm calling a val function, and within a val function I am passing an array of value, right? And remember that do not pass multiple values when you are dealing with the drop down control, because at a time you can have only one item on a screen, right? So let me see the name of my drop down. Yes, it's a workshop. So let me go back and click on the register. See, by default I have workshop on Python. By default the gender is male, the workshop is Python, and the hobbies are singing and reading. And you can change these if you want. So I can go here, I can write, let's say, John. I can choose this one, and here you can write Carter, right? And the default selection is male. You can even select female too, right? And if you do not want Python, you can change the selection here. You can even add one more item here like movies. And when you click on the submit form, so technically you should pass the entire data to your server, and maybe you are using a PHP language, and your PHP script is going to handle this data, and once your data is fine, and then you can store it in a MySQL. But in this course we are only focusing on jQuery, right? So we are not going to cover PHP or MySQL here, right? So this is all about how you can make default selections, right? And in the next lecture we will understand how can we retrieve the data in variables, right? So because right now you can only see the default selections or the selections made by the client. So once you click on a submit button, you should have the entire data in your jQuery variables so that you can deal with them, right?